ANAX versus WaRm. ANAX is
Yep.
the Super Fish Crimson Hunter team, right? Yeah, that's ANAX.
Hmm.
All right, I haven't had a chance to cast for WaRm quite yet, but the first band's going to be Osiris, and then Robin. I think both teams valuing the solo lane a little bit here. Surprised not to see the first band Sasano, but one of the other team could pick that up and make that pretty useful. But we've seen Sasano get through a few times, so see what both
Yeah.
teams decide to do here and prioritize. Probably just
Every
deciding
time
whether
we've seen Susano get through, it's been devastating.
it's been pretty devastating for the enemy team, but we've seen Sasano be just as lackluster as other gods too, depending on who gets their hands on him. I think just deciding who they're going to ban here, probably thinking about Sasano or a or even a News, but Bologna actually going to be the ban there on the side of WaRm. They could probably drop both Sasano and Carno's, ban something like a Cirquet, and get one or the other. Sasano immediately going to be hovered on. Probably going to be locked in for ANAX. That's going to leave Carnos open for WaRm if they wanted to grab that there.
Hmm.
If they do want to go for it, Chang'e actually going to be hovered on, another very strong character. We saw her banned all 3 games of the split that we saw yesterday, so happy to see her finally get through and get picked. Maybe we'll see some good Chang'e play coming out of WaRm. Booby PR. I think we have the a tendency for people to name their characters Booby in this league. Wheelik's actually going to be the lock, so they actually are going to let Kernos go to Annex here. If ANAX want that, they could grab a Thoth, they could grab a Poseidon here as well, but I think there's room in these next 2 picks for them to grab a Kronos, but they don't have to. Ganesha and Medusa actually both going to locked in, not caring at all for the Kronos, and it's going to be locked in for WaRm in the 6th pick slot.
Hmm. What do you have to say on that?
I think Medusa's a good pick. I've said it plenty of times before on console that Ultimate is much more devastating than it is on PC, but I also think Chronos is just as deadly with huge AoE damage, very, very potent boxing potential between having 4 different styles of boxing in his first ability, great wave clear, and very, very good crowd control potential and combo potential with his ultimate. But Medusa's also pretty good, so I think it's going to come down to who has more skill. I think they both have pretty equal clear, pretty equal poke, and pretty equal harass on each other. It's just going to come down to who's more aggressive, who avoids the other damage, who jukes a little bit more, and how that Ganesha is going to play into it. I think with Ganesha at Medusa's side, Kronos isn't going to be able to get the ults off that he wants to in the time that he wants to. So if you can pull a character out of rhythm, pulling a character out of their rhythm is also as effective as CCing them. It's just going to hold them still, and they're not going to play as effectively. Going into their bank time right now, I think they're wondering if they want to ban another solo or get Poseidon off the table, or even a Thoth. I think Poseidon would be the ban here. You don't want that to go to the hands of ANAX, but Thoth, a respectable ban, have no issue with the ban of that big damaging character that we've seen so many times in this league do so well.
He's definitely been a great mid.
He's a great mid with huge range, very good CC. He has a stun that lasts forever. He has oodles and oodles of damage. His harass is probably the best out of every single mid laner, as they can clear a wave in 2 shots and then send the 3rd shot to the enemy. If they're waiting for the next wave, they can send 3 shots and continuously harass the enemy mid laner and have that dash that goes halfway across the map to keep them safe anyways. Kepri also going to be banned by ANAX. Not wanting to see that on the table. I think that's a good ban. You don't want to have Kronos get revived. You don't want to see a Wheelik stay in the fight just because of a revive that you could have prevented in the ban phase.
Hmm. And I don't believe Ceranos actually knocks up when he dashes, right? He just goes right
He
through
doesn't
them.
knock up. He just goes through them and deals damage. It's a pretty
So
decent
I'm interested
dash.
to see. I'm interested to see if the Bacchus will be banned here coming up.
Uh, if they want to ban Bacchus, they can, but I don't think that's the prominent support pick that you're looking for. Hercules is actually going to be banned. That's something they could have held on to and put in their solo lane. His knockup does work with the Oelix pull, so surprised to see that banned out, but you don't want to go against it either.
Hmm. I mean, the Sun Wukong still has that knockup along with Erling Shin, so it'll be interesting to see who they pick up here, and if they will synergize with their Wheelix, or if they're just going to rely on their Wheelix's skill.
There's plenty of things they could do in the situation that they have right now. Ganesha, Medusa, and Sasano all can get trapped in an Odin cage if they wanted to go that route. Chalk actually going to be hovered on. He has the knockup with his ultimate, so that is a combo potential for Obelix. So that pick wouldn't be terrible. But I do think that a Wukong or even an Odin would be a pretty decent pick here, as you want to cage up a Medusa, Ganesha, and a Sasano. A Sasano could teleport out if he puts that onto an enemy god that is outside of the cage, but Other than that, I think Odin would have been a bad pickup, and Shock going to be locked in there. An overall good mid laner, doesn't really lose matchups, but as long as they can get the
Good mid
combination
laner.
off between, as long as they can get the combination, excuse me, between him and a Wheelix, I think they'll do just fine coming out of the solo lane in the jungle.
Yep. He doesn't really lose solo lane, but he does lose late game comparative to a lot of other solo laners.
And I
Wouldn't
think
you
they're
agree?
all right. I think they're all right with trading that out. If they pick up a Sun Wukong, I think late game they're going to notice the difference. But because you picked up a Wheelix, a Chang'e, a Chrononos, it's okay to tell your solo laner to pick up who they're feeling more so than who the meta pick is as the other three characters. If they're comfortable on their very strong characters, I think it's all right to have a solo laner be on an A tier character or a B plus character as long as you're confident that they can hold their own.
Hmm. And what do you think these next two picks are going to be?
Delving,
Alamatic and Yeti going to have the next two
they're
pickups here.
delving into their bank time, so they're really thinking about who they want to use here. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Poseidon here, but that also means that Isis could be picked up on the side of WaRm, which does counter the Poseidon. Isis actually going to be hovered on. I'm thinking they're probably talking about objective control and how they're going to try and win the game without getting kills and trying to outbox the enemy. Not sure what their skills are on that team, but an Isis wouldn't be a terrible lock, and it really prevents WaRm from picking up Poseidon if they're aware of that counter. Or Longshen also going to be hovered on. We've seen him a few times in the solo lane as well as the jungle. Pretty potent character as well.
The jungle pick was quite potent.
Absolutely, but it was also a pretty lopsided game. So I think any character in that situation would have done well. But still, showcasing her Longshen 2 games in a row and doing very well both.
Hmm. And now, explain to me why ISIS has good objective control. I'm still a little lost on this.
Isis has an ultimate which, if you deal damage while you're inside of that circle, regardless of whether it's to minions, to an objective, to an enemy, all the damage dealt within the circle adds up a meter in the circle. And once the meter gets maxed, the damage of the circle doubles as well as the heals. So the circle actually can do a huge amount of damage and confirm a Gold Fury, a Fire Giant, as well as burst heal your team back up to rocket them back into a fight in case they get engaged on. It's a very good objective-oriented ultimate. It's good for a quick kill as well, but you usually see an Isis hold on to that for a Fire Giant or a Gold Fury.
And what do you think about this Kumba Karna pick over the Geb?
I don't know if I agree with the Kumba Karna pick. I think an Athena would have been better, a Geb would have been better, even a Bacchus, honestly, would have been better than a Kumba Karna in the situation. He has his ultimate, but that isn't technically a knock-up, and a Wheelix can't pull a character out of that, so the synergy isn't there. Hopefully, dual lane can just be pretty independent, and he can just go to the mid lane and help out. Looking like it's going to be Chang'e who he's going to be helping out a lot. Actually, they're going to be helping out Chang'e in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see how this plays out.
It'll be interesting for sure. It'll play out probably pretty close in the first few minutes. They have power picks on both sides of the map, but I think if you can exploit Kumba Karna's weakness that he has against the Ganesha, keep him silenced because he isn't the most mobile god without using his ultimate, and his CC is good, but once any of his abilities are down, he's a sitting duck and he can't peel you away from him.
Mm-hmm. What kind of combos do you expect to see out of these two teams here?
I think Susanoo is going to be pretty pivotal about this success of about ANAX's success if they can keep him in the mid lane and keep him in the solo lane, try and shut down that Shock, try and shut down that Chang'e. Two very powerful picks if you let them get ahead. I think you could snowball a Isis into the lead. An Isis in the lead, a Spirit Ball will chunk you, and that's the easiest thing to combo off of any characters. Any player is happy to have a good Isis on their team. Is the Spirit Ball is the best setup in the game. Pretty much for any mid laner. There's good abilities coming out of Poseidon and some cripples, but Spirit Ball is just up so often that you can set up so many kills and burn so many beads and just be a nuisance.
Mm-hmm. And on the other team?
It's gonna maybe combinations aren't what they're gonna look for here. It looks like each individual player is pretty good in a 1 versus 1 fight, and a Wheelix can usually win in a battle versus most squishy characters. I think Susanoo is where she's going to meet her match, but if she can make him miss 1 or 2 abilities, her Feather Step is pretty hard to miss, as it won't even work if you aren't targeting an enemy. So Chang'e hopefully can win that lane if she keeps her minions healed, doesn't eat too many Spirit Balls, immunes when she needs to, times her abilities. Chrononos and Medusa are just going to be pretty even as long as Ganesha, Draxkiller on Ganesha can annoy the Chrononos enough. I think Yeti Midas is going to have a pretty good time with that Medusa, able to keep Chrononos under his tower, but you don't want a Chrononos to get ahead. A First Blood going to him is pretty much a death sentence for that dual lane, as getting those extra abilities and extra items online makes him hit so much harder than another character at equal level.
I agree. What do you think of these skins? Just off topic. Like, they have a lot of good skins.
Skins are cool, as long as they're not using the golden ones and such, and the rules aren't broken, but skins are rad. I don't think it's much of a... I don't think it's going to showcase any skill or how good you are with the character. I've seen plenty of people who have a Diamond God with 7,000 worshippers with the best skin in the game get absolutely stomped, so probably just strutting their stuff, trying to look better than the rest.
And to make sure everyone realizes why skins are banned, there is actually a skin advantage or disadvantage with the skin that we have banned. One major example would be the Osiris Lord of Silence skins. Right now, there's currently a bug with it that does not show his passive, so you can assume Osiris doesn't have his pass up engage on him, but he's still getting that damage reduction, and you don't even realize it. And it's just really devastating. The only person that would know would be the Osiris, who has that meter on his screen.
Yeah, and that's just a blatant glitch that Hi-Rez hasn't quite fixed quite yet. But not a big deal. You just don't use the skin. You use the base skin if that's the only skin you have. It's whatever.
Unfortunately, these skins are to make sure that all games are balanced and that everyone can have a fun time and easier to broadcast.
Absolutely. All right, gonna be getting into the game here pretty soon. Pretty big experience difference so far. I think that Cannibal Hunter on that Shock only at rank 2 versus the Erlong Shen. If the easier character is going to be the Shock, I think Erlong Shen takes a little bit more time to master fully his combinations as well as his AoE auto attacks, but I think the lane goes the way of Erlong Shen. His clear is a little bit better. Shock doesn't have those AoE
With
auto
that,
attacks.
Minx.
Yes,
With
you're
those
right.
Minks, and if you don't know what to do with Erlong Shen, I oftentimes when I first started playing him would go for Turtle for everything instead of going for a Mink, when the Mink is actually the better pick for a lot of situations because it does a lot more damage and it does go through minions. I thought it was like Wukong Tiger.
It does go through the minions, and that's the main difference between it and the Wukong Tiger. The Tiger doesn't go through the minions, and it will stun on the first person as opposed to the Minx, which goes through the minions. So it's a pretty universal, a pretty good universal ability. You can start the Minx out of the lane, come in, go through minions, and then aggress onto a mid laner or something on the along those lines. So my AI is starting to load in here. I can almost see who I'm selecting as I select them. So we have Yeti Mites in the Yeti Mites in duo, partnered with Drax Killer, both of them sporting the Medusa and the Ganesh. Very strong lane. I think Just Fly on Chronos is going to have a really hard time there. Superfish is going to be in the jungle on Sasano. Chrism 100. I think it's Chrism 100. Yeah, Chrism 100 in the... I'm going to call him Chrism. Chrism in the mid lane as Isis and Ilmatic NGA. I'm going to call him Ilmatic in the solo lane as Erlong Shen. Cannibal Hunter is going to be in solo, going up, sparring off against him as Chalk, Just Fly 24, partnered up with Bobo Rex, sporting Kubakarna and Chronos Chester 0024. Just going to call him Chester on Chunga, going into the mid lane, and in the jungle it's going to be Booby PR as the Wheelish.
There's a lot of boobies in this league.
There are.
Oh, I just realized I made a joke.
Yes.
Disregard that. It was a horrible, horrible joke.
1 second, I'm going to get to the player damage. Just some early pings coming out on the side of ANAX, I think, pointing out that there's 3 characters in Love Jungle right now, so pushing up would be a mistake by Draxkiller, and Wheelix could come in and knock him up or feather step him, hold him in place for a couple seconds to allow the damage to come out of their dual lane to try and pick up a first blood, maybe, but nothing big going on over in the mid lane. There was a bit of just some pinging right now. They know that the Wheelix is there, so I think just coming to the mid lane and waiting for the wave is going to be the right call there. Cannibal Hunter poked out a little bit over in the solo lane. Nothing big is lost, no harm, no foul, but still don't want to see that happen.
And if Cannibal keeps getting poked out, this is going to have to go with his heal over his spin.
He doesn't have to go.
Be detrimental to him.
Yeah, at level 1 he should be going with his clear, but at level 2 he could go for his heal if he's feeling like he's having issues with sustaining. In the mid lane, Prism getting poked out quite a bit by Chester and Booby. They're just going to go and respond to that by heading to their speed buff and trying to steal that. They're going to contest it though. Chrism and Superfish are going to try and go up against Chester and Booby. Got to be careful here. If you can grab the steal, that'd be really nice. They're actually unable to secure that there. Now you're going against 2 characters who have a level 2 ability. This could be first blood. Superfish going to go down. Chester able to get that first blood. They hit level 2 and were able to use their abilities to grab that first kill.
Every time we see someone every time we see the league, someone chase after that speed buff.
And heading to duo lane now is Booby. This could be a knock-up and another kill. No, not quite going to get it. If he would have died the tower, he could have gotten the feather step for the kill, electing not to risk it, though. Ilmatic going to have to die, stay safe under that tower.
Yep, Bluey did a good job with that solo rotation, capitalizing right off that and then going for the blue buff.
Agreed, and now, yes, invading their jungle, already getting their second camp that they're going to be stealing. And none of their camps on their side have been stolen quite yet. A little bit of contention over at the Oracles. Looks like they split them there.
WaRm Machine doing a very good job here on the pressure.
I think WaRm Machines is doing a very good job. I agree. They got that first kill, and Booby, if he can get ahead of Superfish on that Sasano, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Two people over in that solo lane, a little bit of a fight breaking out. A knockup's going to be good on the Superfish. The Feather Step's going to be enough to get him down to about 10% HP. The poke isn't going to be there from Cannibal Hunter. Couldn't decide who he wanted to aggress on, and electing just to go back to lane.
Probably smart choice to farm up, get ahead of the early Shin there.
Over in duo lane, Yeti Midas is having a bit of trouble up against Just Fly and Bobo. A little bit of damage coming out of Just Fly, not going to be enough to pick him up. However, Illmatic again getting poked out over in the solo lane, having to go under tower, and the smart choice to back here and just teleport back in with a full health and mana power and try and retaliate and get that lead back in your hands.
Didn't Ill teleport before? Ill?
No, his teleport is not on cooldown right now. He's going to be teleporting back in the lane. All actives are still on the board. Yeah, most actives are still on the board. A rotation coming out of the mid laner, Chrism 100. This might be a mistake by him. Hot on their trail is Booby. The silence is actually probably going to save his life right there. The Feather Step was probably online for Booby to use, but the silence was going to be pretty clutch to try and keep him on the ground for a little bit longer and allow them to cleanly disengage.
WaRm Machine's jungle really setting the pace for the game here.
Setting the pace, and I think they are just thinking about and revolving around a Wheelix. If they can't do it with a Wheelix, they're probably just going to elect not to do it and wait until he is available to leap in and try and make a play. Chrism 100 not aware that he's there right now. He's going to get sandwiched on. It's going to be a little bit of a 2 versus 2 engagement. Booby very low, but not worse for wear. Shaster tried to use the ultimate to try and get a stun onto Chrism 100. It isn't going to be enough. Could have been a kill there had he gotten that ultimate off.
Definitely, the damage alone would have put that Isis dead.
Absolutely. Unfortunate that didn't work out for them. I think just they need to level their heads and start talking a little bit more about what they're going to do. That ultimate probably would have been shot down by the rest of his team members, or at least by Booby, who was there with them, saying, no, hold on to that ultimate, not safe, you're going to miss it. Or, and it looked like he was aiming at the character that was already under tower, so just a little ill-advised with that play, but no worse for wear. You just wait a couple minutes for the ultimate to come back online and try and make the same play again.
What do you think of the fact that Serenos and Kumba are actually winning their clear and wave compared to what should be a pretty powerful clear lane, as long as Medusa got Bluestone along with Ganesh?
I think early game they just won the boxing match. There was a lot of damage onto Yeti Midas as that Medusa, which forces him to play back and wait for the wave to come to him to the tower. So they just got an early advantage in the lane clear, and by themselves right now is just Fly and Yeti Mites. So it's gonna the clear is gonna be fairly even. He has the extra damage from his first ability. That Summer Heat is going to be adding extra damage to each of his auto attacks, plus his passive, which every minion that's going to be close to him is taking a little bit extra damage as well.
And over in solo lane, Booby going for that Susanoo.
Actually wasn't able to see that. He's going to get a double kill there after pulling Illmatic. The ultimate from Cannibal Hunter going to be used there to get the knockup for him to get that. That's a very good play.
Yep, like you said, the Choco and the Synergize, they probably communicated what was going on, what was up. Good job.
4 members of WaRm Machines grouped up here to try and take down Draxkiller. The knockup's going to be good from Booby, and the Feather Step should be following it up, holding him in place. Now the ultimate going to be used by Bobo Rex, caught out there. Might be able to get away, going to be pretty close. Booby's probably going to leap in, and another Feather Step is going to pick it up for him.
Once again, Wheelix being the poster girl of whatever team she's been on in the league thus far.
I think the communication is just there. Hey, I just used my ultimate, but I'm still got a healthy mana pool. Let's see if we can't group up and make a play into this jungle. As Superfish wasn't there for that fight, so it was a 4 versus 2 advantage. Everybody just left, and Draxkiller was going to be the only victor for them so far. It's only 4-0. The gold lead is at 2,400, so it's starting to look a little bit like WaRm Machines is going to take this game into their hands and start trying to find some objectives, but they still have a chance on ANAX as long as they can find some solo kills and try and pick a couple characters off, see if they can't shut down Booby. But in mid lane, the ultimate coming out of Superfish to knock up Chaster. Draxkiller was there with the silence, but electing to disengage. They don't have the damage online to try and get that pick.
Just fly. Looking at the builds, Ganesh and Kumba both going for those traveler's boots so where they can rotate around. Definitely meta right now. But actually, something I don't think we've seen very often lately is people selling their traveler's boots.
I think doing that later in the game is fine, but early in the game, Traveler's Boot's going to do really good with the extra HP 5 as well as the gold that you get from damaging another character. 3 members of ANAX going to group up and punish Booby for going by himself. However, Booby just going to pick up Superfish and walk away.
Doing a great job as a Wheelix this game.
Doing a great, fantastic job with the Wheelix. Didn't mind going against 3 people. Stayed reserved, realized that had the Feather Step to disengage and get that kill and get out.
Feather Step is the reason the Feather Step is so good is because it's just so disconcerting, especially in this kind of game where you're actually not like looking above your god, looking right behind you, god, not above it like in League or something like that.
Yes, it does absolutely massive amounts of damage. They can do it in an AoE after you get those first 2 auto attacks off, and it'll put you behind them. It'll hold them in place. It's an overall hard ability to counter and hard to deal with, especially if you're trying to box her and you're low on health. It's pretty much impossible to beat out a Feather Step.
What is a Wheelix counter? Does a Wheelix have a counter? Because she counters several gods, but what counters her?
Thor can do a pretty good job against the Wheelix. He doesn't have a leap, but he is very, very mobile, just like her. He can stun her out with a wall and hold her in place to get a double tap. She can leap away, but he can teleport across the wall to get her. I think Thor is a pretty good pickup against her. Another character that do pretty good, I think, is Nemesis. She doesn't have a leap. She can dash and stick with her. She can have a slow, and she can remove any protection she has as well. Take away a chunk of health and just try and burst her down super quick. Wheelix's mobility.
I think we saw Wheelix actually pull a Thor out of his teleport before.
You can't pull a Thor out of his teleport. That's not considered a leap.
Then what the heck did I see?
Draxkiller going to get pulled there. The ultimate is going to be good out of Cannibal Hunter for that knockup, but actually electing to disengage. I don't think going versus 3 was quite what she had in mind, plus the rotation from ANAX is going to be enough to put 4 members in their right jungle, so just not a very attractive fight for Booty, making the correct decision to try and back off there. However, still 4-0-1, very far ahead in farm already against Superfish to a tune of 1,200 gold right now, making this jungle hers.
Looking at the wards placed thus far, ANAX definitely has a lot more down than WaRm machines.
Absolutely. And I think the ward game is also going to be what shows who is going to take this game towards the mid to late game. I think only 3 wards out of WaRm machines is a mistake. I know you're ahead and I know you're comfortable playing the way you are right now, but you still want to have that vision to try and find more picks. They could probably have a few more kills if they had more wards in more important places.
And they definitely want to watch his objectives. They want to know where everyone is, and if they could deep ward, get into the enemy jungle, know when they're going for their buffs, they could time their assault on other camps really well.
They could. Just not much of a fight coming on in mid lane. A little bit of poke coming out from both teams. However, Booby's going to try and make a play onto the enemy solo laner in Illmatic. The ultimate coming from Illmatic to try and deter his death a little bit longer. The knockup's going to be good. I don't think she needed her to use the ultimate there. Not even sure if it was online. Some damage coming out of both teams, but both of them electing to just back off at this point. Bobo Rex not going to be able to get anything. Superfish actually going to be the victim there, going a little bit too far and able to get that pull. The damage out of ANAX is going to be a little something for them to consider right now. I'm thinking WaRm machines needs to back off, grab a portal demon, and be more careful. But I think another mistake is going to be occurring from Draxkiller, who tried to make a play for his team, but going to get picked off from the sustain and damage out of WaRm machines.
Good job by them to pick that up, recognize when he was too far, and just going on him.
Very close battle too. Chaster 0024, pretty low on health and a pretty squishy character in his own respect on that Chang'e. Portal Demon probably going to be looked at here and started. 3 members on WaRm machines are going to be there right now. Booby actually decided to go back to base, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. They have the damage online right now to grab this portal. Not sure if Superfish spots it as he's just starting his speed buff now. And Portal Demon, the first one of the game, is going to be going the way of WaRm machines.
At 10 minutes. That's a free back for whoever wants it.
For whoever needs to go back to base, they can grab that for sure.
Definitely something to keep in mind. Justfly doing a good job of getting his buffs and the enemy buffs as well. Ceranos just showing why he's very good right now with that Summer Heat is what it's called, right?
Summer Heat is the Summer Heat is going to be the second option of his first ability to add extra damage to every single auto attack. So yes, he's very good. Hits like a truck.
It's a crazy ability to have.
It's crazy to put on a hunter where attack speed's good with it because you still get extra damage regardless of how much physical power you have. But you can still build Transcendence and Pen to add like 30 or 40 to every single auto attack and just rip through characters. That was my original thought with him, was to build Transcendence and Chin Size, two items that don't really go hand in hand, but in him, getting that extra damage on every single auto attack with that power as well as the passive from Chin Size just melts very tanky characters and absolutely decimates anybody that's squishy as well.
Yeah, that Quinn Size is doing what? Is it 4% damage?
4% of your total, yes, 4% of your maximum health. A knockup going to be coming out of Cannibal Hunter. Going to be pulled. Booby with that combination that I was talking about. Drax Killer going to be going down. Cannibal Hunter with the kill credit there. Chrism 100 didn't really have anything he could do about that. Him versus 4 people isn't something he can comfortably do anything about.
They definitely know their combo.
Absolutely. Chrism 100 actually able to get his team on the board with a kill onto Booby. The second kill might be going on to Bobo. He might respond in time. And yes, Yeti Mite's able to get that kill. Pretty low in his own respect is Yeti Mite's. And looking like both teams should be backing off here. Chrism 100, got to be careful there.
That Erling Shinnel does not taunt long enough, in my opinion. That was just so short for what an ultimate should be.
I think it's enough, though, to turn a character towards you for even half a second is very strong. You don't need it to last long to be able to combo off of it, as long as the adequate communication is there.
I agree. But Athena's taunt is what, like 5 seconds? 4? 3?
The Athena taunt, I think, lasts 3 seconds at max rank. At rank 1, I think it does only 0.8 of a second. But still, a taunt is one of the best crowd controls in the game.
Oh yeah, it's so disconcerting for whoever's playing it in this kind of game. Where like where this third person type of game where you're looking behind the god, not above the god, and you have to readjust yourself at this sudden turn. And you're still running.
Gotta be careful there not to come in under that lower path from the jungle, electing just to go the safer route, not try and get poked out or caught out. Spirit Ball not going to be on the mark there. Chrism needs to worry about his health pool right now. If he needs to go back to base, you got to do it soon before something big happens. And getting caught out is once again Drax Killer, just getting found by a Booby as well as the rest of his team every single time. Another death for him. 4 deaths already for. That's pretty. It's not huge as his worth when you kill him goes lower and lower the lower the level he is from you, but still getting picked off so often is just going to deter your farm, going to help them get ahead. Just overall bad idea by him to travel alone, or at least to not be able to put a ward in front of him, or wards in more travel sections to make sure he could spot out the enemy team when they're grouping up like that.
Looks like they're trying to rotate on dual lane.
Possible they could be looking at a Gold Fury here, just trying to force an objective for themselves.
Yeti laughing at the fact that his opponent's left the lane, not even aware about the potential for Gold Fury here. Not caring.
Yes. Justify looked like he wanted to get some farm from the damage buff, but Chester didn't see that coming. Last hit it for himself. Big wards coming out from ANAX, but none of them in the places that are going to catch them out in the team fights. Drax Killer, even with 9 wards placed, still got caught out, but at least he is warding and trying to do the best he can to keep his team ahead.
Good job by him with his Shanga. He's been all around involved in a lot of these fights.
Spirit Ball is going to be good, but the Age is actually going to save him there. Booby trying to make a big play in this mid lane fight. Big damage coming out of ANAX. A good retaliation by him, but he was able to get out.
Barely getting out there as that Sun roll landed. That was the end for sure.
Yes, Cannibal Hunter. Sorry about that. Cannibal Hunter looking like he did a good job with that shock, able to come over, get a big knockup, try and rotate, get that damage out. Drax Killer looking like he's going to be the victim of this fight. However, Yeti Mite's able to pick up a kill for himself. Illmatic NGA going to be the next target there. Yeti Mite's also pretty low. Breaks are going to be used up by him, trying to stay alive. Yeti Mite's got to be real careful here, but this first tower should be going down to War Machines, but they're all a little low on health right now.
They're probably got to reset and leave. Although the Serenos.
Yes, and I think turning their sights towards a Portal Demon or those Oracles or even a Gold Fury right now would probably be the right call to try and bait out a fight. They have the advantage right now.
Both teams are back. Oh no, Cesaro coming back in.
Nothing big going on right now. I think both teams just looking for good farm and trying to find the next thing to fight over. And I'm thinking a Gold Fury should be what they're grouping up for and trying to contend for right now. Even though they have no towers on the board, they're still ahead by that 4,000 gold. They want to accelerate that gold lead, see if they can't start sieging towers.
I'm surprised to see that WaRm didn't go for the early Gold Fury, considering the fact how far ahead they were in the early game. Taking a quick look at Ganesh, it looks like he's building a Gauntlet of Thieves. What do you think support's gonna have to do next patch when Gauntlet of Thieves gets nerfed? Nerfed pretty hard. -5 to both protections.
I still think it's a pretty good item, and I still think it's an essential item for a support that wants to be a team player and an objective place player. It's big team fights breaking out all the time in these fights. You can't really go without an item like Gauntlet of Thieves. Will it be picked up the first item after boots? I don't know. Maybe. We see it pretty often now that Gauntlet of Thieves is immediately picked up after boots. However, Booby, while we were talking about that, able to pick up the kill on the enemy mid laner. But Gauntlet of Thieves were fighting a huge amount of health, and I think that's really where the bread and butter you get. You don't need that many protections to make a large health pool very useful.
Yeah, I agree.
I think with the nerfs coming to all war items, we might see more breastplates of valor coming out first item after boots. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a mystical mail coming out of more support, something that's a little bit more utility based and a little bit more higher in the base protections it gives you. But I still think Gauntlet of Thieves is going to be picked up item after Sovereignty, item after Heart Ward later in the game. Still a good item.
I personally take it after yeah, no, not Sovereignty, Heart Ward Amulet, just to throw in those more protections.
Yes. Not a whole lot going in mid lane right now. A little bit of poke going to be missed by Cannibal Hunter. I think grouping up is the right call here for War Machine to try and grab this very first tower of the game. Their eyes are on it right now. Big fight breaking out in the mid lane. A knockup going to be good from Cannibal Hunter onto one. The Isis ultimate also going to be used here by Crimson Hunter to try and make a good defense for his tower. War Machine's a little worse for wear. Just Fly, however, with a big rotation coming in with a good ultimate onto Superfish. Still 5 strong in the mid lane against 4.
And here comes Booby from the side.
Grouping up as 4 here. I think you're a little low on health that you don't want to go in and try and fight 4 members of ANAX who aren't that far behind, but I do think going for a Portal Demon would have been a good call. Or even try to push up left lane, see if you can't get another tower while you're waiting for Superfish to respond. But going ahead and splitting off, going into the jungle, grabbing camps, also a pretty decent call.
Going for Portal Demon here with Chalk and a Wheeler.
3 characters going to be on that Portal Demon. It's going to be spotted out by ANAX. I think dropping it was the right call there. Yeti Might's able to get his ultimate to stun onto 1. They're actually able to turn that Portal Demon around to themselves and get a little bit of a victory there.
I agree. Yeah, that's a huge victory. That's 100 gold per player.
I think it's 100 gold exactly. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of gold per player and not a whole lot of experience, but it's good to have that portal online, and it's good to take that away from War Machines. And if you get that consistently and often, it's going to do good. It's going to add up, and it's going to help your team get ahead. It's basically Gold Fury, but if you don't have enough people online, if you don't have a whole lot of damage online, you don't really go for the Gold Fury. You opt for the portal. The Hunter isn't there. There's plenty of reasons to go for a portal, and I think that the ill-advised call coming out from War Machines was only ill-advised because they didn't do it soon enough. Had they stopped that team fight, knowing that they grabbed one of the characters out of ANAX, they could have immediately turned to that Portal Demon while they were healthy, while Justfly 24 was there with them.
That sounds about right to me.
The Oracle's going to be started up here. Bobo Res going to try and come in and contest. Able to grab both his Superfish, and now Bobo Res is in a little bit of a sticky situation. However, that Mesmerize is going to come, stop both of the players that were attacking him, and go ahead and get him out of that.
That Mez is a powerful tool and used in the right moments as long as you're communicating with your team what's going on.
Yes, Yeti Might's having to use that Bracer of Undoing to get his health pool back up. Cannibal Hunter, however, going to try and ult. And Booby going to be able to clean up that kill with a leap. The beads was going to save Yeti Midas only for a little bit, but not long enough for Booby to get far enough away from him to not secure it. Big fight breaking out of both teams right now. Got to be careful if you're on either team right now. You don't want to lose too many characters to make this go too badly. Draxkiller again going to be caught out. However, running to Superfish. Now backed up by a few players. Trying to go back to the tower. Going to be a bad mistake by him. Might be a kill. The ultimate's going to come out of Chrism to try and keep him alive for now. Just a big standoff. Big standoff at this tier 2 tower right now. Cannibal Hunter just going to run under the tower and bail his team out of that fight and try and disengage. Booby with a pretty healthy mana pool as well as a health pool might be able to make a play here. However, over in the duo lane, Justfly was just going on a rampage, able to grab the tier 1 as well as the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, Serenos will do that, just with straight up power, pen, and attack speed, which a lot of their items are, you know, linked together, like Ichivol and so on and so forth with that attack speed and pen. It's going to be huge. He's going to destroy towers early.
I think his attack speed's a very high attack speed. He could add the extra damage from his passive as well, able to mow down those 2 towers while such a long fight was happening over in the right lane. I don't think ANAX, even if they did realize, had the opportunity or the time to go over to the left lane and try and stop that, as had they sent a character over there, the right lane would have been beat out and you lose towers over there too. So just a sticky situation, a good call by War Machines to have Justfly push up that lane as much as they can.
The fact that they were able to, what, is it 4v5 there? Is a good thing to be able to do there, hold off the opponent.
Starting the Fire Giant now is War Machines. I think with ANAX coming in, you drop the Fire Giant and try and go get a couple kills there, and that's exactly what they're going to be calling. Dropping the Fire Giant and going in for the fight. Yeti going to be the first victim of that fight. Draxkiller looking like he could be the next target if he doesn't. Of course, Crimson 100 is going to be it. Draxkiller going to be going down pretty soon. Crimson 100 actually able to spare his life. Justfly on a killing spree now in these team fights, wrecking havoc, able to get a double kill in this fight. Good job by Justfly, already grabbing 2 towers for his team over in left lane. Pretty pivotal right now coming into this mid to late game. I think he's going to be the reason why they snoop into a late game with the lead that they have right now at an almost 10,000 lead.
Their gold advantage is over 9,000, and it's crazy.
The gold advantage is over 9,000, almost to 10,000 here, and with this Fire Giant, it should exceed 10,000, and that's about the point that you realize as ANAX, your hope is starting to dwindle, and the lead on War Machines is going to be almost too much to overcome. They got to be careful with only 2 towers standing right now to make sure they can at least keep 1 standing for as long as they can while they send characters out to the jungle and out to lanes to try and pick up a few more levels and see if you can't put a team fight together to try and take down War Machines. It sucks that your jungler is it just sucks that Superfish on a character as potent as Sasano is only going to be level 13 at this point in the game.
It's just a huge skill difference, no offense to Superfish, just that Blueby is just the better jungler of this game.
I think skill difference is something to point at. I think experience is also something to point at. War Machine's looking like they're a much well-oiled machine than ANAX is, but hopefully, if ANAX could think a little bit, talk about what their team fight potential and comment it. Yeah, now you got it. You caught that pun. Anyways, anyways, in the mid lane, a bit of a fight breaking out. Big damage coming out onto Crimson 100. The stun isn't going to be there as Wingust isn't going to be able to kept him held down. However, big burst coming out of Booby is going to be able to pick him up with that last hit.
And he popped it, and it's still not enough to save him.
Absolutely. Draxkiller again, going to be the victim. Justfly 24 on a rampage right now. Going to be pulling them into that late game. Another double kill for him. Justfly 24. 2 towers on his end and 2 fat team fights going towards his team.
Alright, so like we were talking about before, there's just an experience difference. And what we mean by that is like how much the player's seen, their farm is like how much they know to do, and then there's a skill potential. Like a bad player can have good skill, as in like they know how to fight, they know how to use the character, but experience is a whole other matter. Like with farming.
I think there's other words to use other than a bad player. I think you can be skilled, but just inexperienced. Somebody who is like grandmaster at League of Legends is going to come into Smite and probably struggle a little bit with the third-person view, but I think knowledge-wise it's a little bit lopsided here. War Machine's clearly prioritizing objectives coming into the mid and late game, and that's what's going to have won them the game. Justfly 24, having been sent over in that left lane to grab those 2 towers, was probably the best call of this game, and it's what shot them into the lead that they have right now.
And you're completely right. I can't explain it well. You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you for doing that. Just wanted to make it clear that not insulting anyone, just trying to explain.
Absolutely, and I don't think anybody on ANAX is super bad. I think Draxkiller just got caught out so many times. He's been clearly warding better and playing decently and trying to do the best he can for his team, just charging in and being fearless and trying to give his team every opportunity to get kills and make a team fight go their way, but unfortunately he caught them. The Frenzy is going to be used on the side of ANAX to see if they can't grab a kill here or see if they can't turn the fight towards their end. A lot of damage coming out from both teams right now. It's actually a pretty close fight. However, Justfly 24 able to get the CC to get Chester a double kill. The fight immediately turning to the side of War Machines. Justfly24 able to grab himself a kill as well. Only 2 members standing on the side of ANAX right now. Prism100 gonna have to do pretty good right here to see if he can't try and defend this Phoenix, but against 5 members, his hopes are pretty grim, electing just to go to the Titan and try and fend off that left minion, maybe get a Spirit Ball. Not a whole lot he can do. Superfish, ill-advised by him to go up against 5 players. The burst is going to be too much from War Machines, however. He's able to slip back into the well, while the onslaught from War Machines is going to be a bit too much for any of them to take. Game 1 going to be going their way. A 23-3 slide. ANAX, first game on their heels.
And what we're gonna, I wonder what kind of bans we're gonna see out of this next coming game here coming up soon.
I don't think they're going to worry about a Sasano ban on the side of War Machines, but I do think Wheelix and Coronadus are going to be targeted by ANAX as long as they play to their strengths more so than they play to the meta. They might be able to pull out a win here in the second game as long as Kronos and Wheelix aren't on the table for War Machines. We'll be right back.